to the Difference Makers Media Show. I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, where we're helping you build your productivity so you can expand your positive impact in the world. Today's insights come from a dear friend and colleague, Dr. Steve Taubman, an internationally recognized motivational speaker, best-selling author of the book Unhypnosis, How to Wake Up, Start Over, and Create the Life You Are Meant to Live. And also, Steve is the creator of a fantastic online course, Procrastination Annihilation, where you can stop making excuses and start making changes. So, to make our time as best as we can and eliminate any procrastination, let's turn over to you, Dr. Steve. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Lynn. What a pleasure to be here. So today what we're going to do is talk about a part of the procrastination annihilation system called 7 steps for getting things done. We like to really help people very early on to feel successful, to feel satisfied with themselves. And so this is a process that allows that to happen. And I think we all have great ideas, but we sometimes let them slide by the wayside. And I think many of us would be a lot more successful and certainly a lot happier with the contribution we're making in the world if we could capture some of those ideas and do something with them. So that's the 7 steps for getting things done.
Great. So could you outline those steps for us, even in our short time period, so some people listening can get some benefits from what you have to offer?
Absolutely. So the first thing to recognize is that we have ideas all the time, but we usually don't do anything with them. They usually slip away. So step 1 is called idea capture. And idea capture simply means that when an idea occurs to you, you always, always, always need to have a device by which you can capture that idea in the moment. Don't expect you're going to remember it. I know you know this, but we still forget that we forget. So have a small pad, have a smartphone with a recording device, have a little recorder, whatever it happens to be, with you at all times. So when you're at the nail salon or you're out walking your dog and an idea pops up, bingo, you put it right on your recorder.
Great. Idea 1.
It's called idea capture. Now once you've captured an idea, what do you do with it? Well, you want to have a place to collect your ideas, and we call that idea collection. The low-tech way to do that is to have a yellow lined paper on your desk that you can see at all times. As soon as you get home with all those wonderful ideas you've captured, you write them down on the list, and they're all there for the taking. You can then go back to that list and decide which one you're ready to deal with at whatever time, but at least they're there. At least they're in one place instead of on a bunch of scrap papers all over your house. So that's called idea collection.
Okay, collection.
Collection, exactly. Now, the third step is called idea cultivation. Now, this only applies when what you've written down requires a little bit of planning or strategizing. Some things you might have written down were like call Aunt Mildred. Just go ahead and call her, right? You don't have to plan for that. But there are things like, for me, I had the idea of writing a book. I had the idea for a title and for a topic, and I was excited about it, and I caught it on my recording device, and I wrote it down on my yellow pad. And when the time came, I wanted to do something with that. I said, I've got to now go to step 3, which is called idea cultivation. So write a book, even if you have the title, isn't enough to just have you sit down and write the book. You need to be able to have some steps in between. So idea cultivation means you're going to exercise your creative mind, the part of your mind that is creative and non-linear and imaginative. And you want to have a blank white piece of paper and colored pens and pencils. Write down the idea in the middle of the paper, and then have lines going from it that lead to new ideas, and those ideas lead to other ideas, and just get it all out of your system. Just start being playful on a piece of paper. Or again, high-tech, you can do it using a mind mapping program on the computer. The point is, however, that you're going to have ideas that don't necessarily have any order or rhyme or reason, but one idea might lead to another one that might make you think of something else or a story, and you just drop them all on the paper. Don't think about the order. Don't think about the logic of it. Just brain dump. So that's what we call idea cultivation. When you cultivate ideas, do it over the course of a few days so that you don't feel that you've got all your ideas out all at once. Let yourself ruminate and steep in that so your subconscious mind can add to it.
Great. That's the creative part of our brain.
That's the creative part of our brain. Now, after that, we get to what's called idea structuring. Now, idea structuring that's the left brain. That's the part of your brain that is linear and it uses logic. So that's where you're going to make an outline or a list, a step-by-step order for operations for whatever your idea is, whatever it is you want to accomplish. You want to start laying it out in order. Blank paper, black or blue pen. Or on your computer using Word or some other document software, even a spreadsheet. But this is where you're engaging the left brain. So you've gone from that creative place, now you're going to the right brain, the the work-oriented part of your brain. So that's the next step in the process.
That's good. So you don't forget anything.
Exactly, and so that there's an order to it. So now we've gone through idea capture, collection, cultivation, and structuring. After you've done that, we get to the next step, which we call idea testing. Every step that you wrote down is a step along the way, but you don't know in advance whether that step is ready to be done. You know, maybe one step is find a real estate agent if your idea was to buy a new house. But maybe you don't know where to find a real estate agent. So that's also a step, isn't it? So if one of your steps is find a real estate agent, well, now you got to drill down a little further to find out what you need to do to make that step possible. You ask yourself, with each of the steps you've already written down, can I do this right now? If I can't do this right now, why? Is there something else? Is there a prerequisite? And that's where you test your ideas. You test your steps to see if you're prepared with each of those steps. And if not, you flesh them out so that you know exactly what you need to do to be ready for the next step. So you've got all the prerequisites taken care of, and now you've got an action plan.
Great.
That
That's really important.
Idea structuring. I'm sorry, idea testing. So now after you've tested your idea, you've got all the steps clearly laid out for yourself. The next thing you want to do is to schedule your ideas. Idea scheduling. That's where those ideas end up either on your calendar program on your computer or in a day planner. Not on that little calendar on your wall where there's a little box this big to write down a bunch of stuff. You want your ideas, what am I going to do, at what time am I going to do it, when am I going to start, when am I going to stop. Book your time. Break it down, chunk it down in little 10-minute pieces so that you're absolutely ready for each step along the way.
That's very important.
Very important. Block booking, block scheduling, very important. And then finally, what we call idea implementation. That's where you go back to the book. Now, by the way, everything up to this point, you know, a lot of times when we're self-employed, we say, I'm self-employed, and because I'm self-employed, I'm my own, what?
Boss.
I'm my own boss. But you know what? That's only half the truth. Sometimes you're your own boss. Sometimes you're your own employee. You want to remember which is which. So if you're capturing ideas and testing the ideas and you're scheduling those ideas, you're your own boss. That was you who decided what you were going to do, right? But when you open up that day planner and it's Tuesday at 3 o'clock and it's time to take action because at 3 o'clock you're supposed to do such and such, stop thinking you're on your own boss. Stop thinking that you have the freedom to either do it or not do it. Start jumping into the attitude of I am now my own employee.
Great.
My own employee, and therefore my boss told me I needed to do this Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I'd better do it. It's Tuesday, it's 3 o'clock. I got to do it. So now you begin to shift your mindset and you become much more accountable to yourself for the things that you set out to do. And so now you've got those items scheduled, and you either check them off once you've done them, or you put an X, meaning you didn't do them. But if you put an X, now you reschedule it for another day as quickly as you can.
That's terrific.
Right? Now let's say you reschedule it for another day, and then you put it off on that day also. That happens 2 or 3 times. Guess what? You didn't test the ideas properly. The reason you're avoiding that idea is because there's something that you haven't taken into account. Maybe some prerequisite you haven't taken into account, or maybe a psychological problem, which is why we teach the 8 flavors of procrastination. We want you to be a master of the psychological barriers that get in your way. So the Procrastination Annihilation course takes you from that moment and says, okay, now, what are the flavors of procrastination? What are the obstacles to you? What are the emotional triggers that are keeping you from taking action? And then we use, we actually use some hypnosis technology to help restructure and reprogram your mind so that you remove all those mental and emotional barriers. So when Tuesday at 3 o'clock rolls around, you're ready to get in action.
That's what I think is so special about your course, Steve, because it takes advantage of both these mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, all those things put together. To help people really rethink what they need to do and then have them do it.
Well, it's a fun program. A lot of people get great value from it. So I know you need to jump off here, but I'll just give you the website for those of you who are interested in learning more about the program. It's Procrastination. Well, the course is called Procrastination Annihilation. The website is eliminatingprocrastination.com. Eliminatingprocrastination.com. And when you get there, what you'll find is if you decide you're going to purchase the course, you push the buy button. There's a place where you can put in a code, a promo code. I'm going to give you a promo code, give you $50 off the course. That promo code is capital P, capital A, 21, PA21. If you put that in the promo code section, the price will go down by $50. You'll get a great kick out of the course.
Very good. And thank you. And if anyone wants to learn more about Steve, you can go to Taubman, TAUBMAN.com, and you will be able to learn more. Steve, thank you so much for your time, and appreciate all your insights onto procrastination annihilation and getting more productive.
Thanks, Lynn. Great pleasure. Take care.
My best to all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.